very excited for today because today is the day that we learn how to Tunisian crochet. It's been on my list of things to learn for a while now, at least for a couple of months, and I'm part of a Reddit crochet Discord that literally a couple of weeks ago was like, oh, let's have a Tunisian beginners project. And I was like, this is literally perfect. It is a Lamia wrap by TL Yarn Crafts. It uses a worsted weight yarn, so I have a super fine yarn. It might be an issue. I just need more yarn really, and I do have another skein there. Fingers crossed going to like the cowl because I bought this on the whim on Hobby a while ago, so I don't really know how I feel about it worked up, but I'm excited just because I bought it because it looked interesting. I also, oh my god, so I got this Tunisian crochet set a while ago for Christmas, and it has these beautiful hooks that I have known what to do with. I did want it for Christmas and I was like, yeah, I'll use it, and I guess 5 months later, today is the day. Something that I've always been curious about was crocheting in the round, because to me that makes no sense. It's like knitting kind of, but not. So we're gonna get started, and I'm going to fire up TL Yarn Crafts tutorial for this just because I don't think I could start Tunisian with a written tutorial. So we're gonna see how much I get done in a little bit. First pass through, I am at row 3 and we're gonna start over because I don't know where I am. After about an hour, we have, the back actually doesn't look that bad, but this is what we have in the front. Kind of like Dorito. I wanted to finish this in about a week and a half, 9-10 days given. And if this is all I can do in about an hour, give and take a little bit of frogging, we're gonna make it. No matter what, we're gonna make it. I'll figure out a way. I am so annoyed with this right now because I have this triangle. It's been like an hour and a half, and I have this little bump. I've redone at least 3 times and it just is not working. And I'm too annoyed to let it go. So I need to fix it. After 2 hours, I've made a slightly bigger Dorito. I don't know if I fixed the edging on the bottom. It looks like it's curving slightly, and we're just going to leave it because I don't know what else I can do. I literally just looked at the pattern again, and I got to the part where it says row 16 to 117. I have to do this for 117 rows. I didn't look at this beforehand. I just hope that I'm a little faster by the time I'm on row like 30, because I am going at a snail's pace. We're about 14 hours and 5 days into the Lamia wrap, and we've got a giant pizza. I think it's turning out well so far. It is 12:30 and I definitely should not be up working on this, but it's been fun. I realized that I can switch out the cables, or at least these set can, and they swivel, so it's really nice to be able to work with them. I'm using a smaller cable wire for now until I actually need the longer one, just so I can save a little bit on space. I've been putting material into this bag so I can work on it when I'm outside on the train, walking around, whatever. It is pretty cool to be able to kind of like knit while I crochet, and I definitely do kind of see how this will take up the most material because you're basically creating chains through a bunch of bars. I think that's what Tunisian crochet is, or at least the simple stitches. You're just creating a bunch of chains. But I will say it does look very neat and very textured in a way. I kind of, not really, maybe a tiny bit regret using such a tiny yarn. I do think using a medium weight yarn would help the pattern shine with the stitches and everything. Potentially also not using a self-striping yarn, but this yarn is holding up well. This is only the first ball, and looks like there is a good amount left for having used it on a whole 117 rows, so, or 112 rows, so we'll see how far we can get. It's been about 9 days since I started the shawl, and we have made good progress. Maybe about halfway through. I think it's looking really neat. Nary a error. Maybe one or two throughout the pattern, but who's looking? I am finally ready to switch out my wire. I used a smaller wire in the beginning just so I didn't have to lug around the longer wire, but now that I can finally unscrew it, I'm just excited to use everything I can in the package. And Tunisian crochet is taking a lot longer than I could have ever imagined. I knew it took long. I did not know it would take this long. At this point, I'm about 30 inches along, and every minute I'm questioning why I use such a thin yarn. Every row probably takes me another 10 minutes, and this thing has to grow for another 40-inch span in terms of width, and I am nowhere near that. I'm only 30 inches in terms of like the length. So at this point, I'm about 25 hours in, but my hands are not happy with me. I thought this project would go a lot faster than how it has been going, and I would probably never wear this. I'm not a shawl person, but I think it looks pretty cute so far. I guess. It looks neat. I don't know if it looks cute. When I measured this yesterday, I got about a 25-inch wingspan, or 24-inch wingspan, and a 32-inch width. So the pattern is calling for 60-inch width and a 27-inch wingspan. Regardless, I'm just gonna go until I finish this up. I think I'm about 3/4 done with the wrap. It's going from like finger span to middle of my other arm. So normally I would go more, but I only have this much yarn left. So I think I'm going to start building out the border. That's just gonna be how long it is. I think the border might add like another 2 inches? 4? 5? I don't know what the gauge is. I think it should add another 5 inches, and I'm gonna build out the border until I run out of yarn. And that's gonna be the length of the wrap. I'm about 3 rows in to my border. Yeah. So you can see the textural differences, but I'm just going along in this. I need to make it as long as my border for the side, just so you know it looks even. I've definitely gotten used to at least telling the quantity for how much I need, and this is not going to be enough to create the rest of this, so I have to rip up the 3 rows I did for the border and at least 10 more for the simple stitch rows, just so I give myself at least a little bit of room. Tunisian, like frogging in Tunisian can be actually kind of annoying if you don't have like a swivel cable. But the fact that I can just kind of disconnect this, you have all the stitches that are along your hook. When you're trying to pull it out, the hook catches on literally everything, so you can just, you know, unswivel this and just pull it out from here. It's really neat, and I love this little like simple hack.
12 seconds later.
And she's done! I just finished it at work earlier today, so I learned one thing post finishing was the rows and the entire pattern was designed so it is symmetrical. Like if you held it downwards here so the border is creating a giant triangle, and because I had thin yarn I kind of just modified the pattern a little bit, but it is definitely not symmetrical. But it is a triangle, and now that I finished it I have no earthly idea of when I'd actually wear it. So I know you can kind of dress it up like this, I guess, a fancy lady. The back looks. I guess it could look like this. Or I think I saw in... I know some people wear it like this, but this kind of makes me feel like I'm wearing a napkin. Yeah, I have no idea when you wear it. Can you really see the detail with the colors? Yeah, it's there. I'm starting to think using a thicker yarn, like a sport weight or a medium weight yarn, definitely would have made this gone by a lot faster, and if I could actually follow the pattern, it would actually be a triangle. So I don't know that I would make this one again. I am very glad that I actually used up like 96% of my yarn, because this is all that's left. I made a good judgment call with how much yarn to use, because I think I couldn't get away with one more row, but then it would kind of be asymmetrical. One of the border sides would be thicker than the other. So Tunisian is very hard, is what I've learned, and I could see it doing something again with a thinner yarn, but I would definitely want a smaller project, like maybe a headband. I've seen some really cool headbands and just some really cool things you can do with Tunisian crochet. And I also didn't block this yet, so it's not stiff. I wouldn't say it's stiff, but it definitely has a little bit more room to grow. We're gonna do that at some point. We block our pieces, right? The only thing I've learned about Tunisian over the course of these 30 days is that you cannot go fast while trying to crochet Tunisian. It was so goddamn slow, and every row took me at least like 10 minutes. And you're just going forward and backwards and basically doing the same row twice. Does it create a really nice texture? Yes. Do I like that it uses up more yarn? No. Do I like how neat it looks? Look at that. Yes. I wouldn't mind trying to create a sweater, but I could also just knit. I come from a knitting background, I know how to knit, or I kind of remember how to knit. So that's a wrap on my Tunisian crochet challenge. I don't have any more projects lined up, but I did find a few patterns on Etsy that look gorgeous, and I really want to try them out. If there's another Tunisian crochet project that you really like, I would love to see it, because I have so many projects on the back burner, but there's always room for another one. So with that, happy crocheting. Bye.